I do not understand how anybody in general, but a doctor in particular, can don't believe in God. You spend 5 years, half a decade in medical school, significant proportion of your life as a young person. And at the end of it, you know a lot. But even more than what you know, you should realize what you don't know. If you look out in the world and just take a minute to remove the 21st century idea that, we're here, we're living in the information age, we know it all. If you accept that you don't know it all, and just open your eyes and look around, you'll see lots of evidence that we don't know it all. And spinning back to your question, in medicine, I think that's where we have the greatest amount of evidence. Humans, how we go about our daily activities, how our bodies work when they're well, how they work when they're not well. We've just scraped the surface. There's so much more that we don't know. Right? And the complexity of it is absolutely staggering. So there's no doubt in my mind that there has to be one supreme being who makes our intelligence look like absolutely nothing, who has designed us and who maintains us and who maintains everything. It couldn't work another way.
Do you get into medical fights with colleagues about what those who believe in God and those who don't? When I say medical fights, I don't mean physical
spirited
fights.
arguments.
Yes.
No problem. Occasionally. And
what's the best argument of those who don't believe in God?
I've never had a good argument from those who don't believe in God. Honestly, this is my belief and this is my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's not. All right. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Now, on the science part, they speak about the Big Bang theory. Our laws of physics teach us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only converted from one form to another. Now, for God, obviously, that would not be true. But even so, when God said, "Let there be light," assuming that He started the laws of the universe as we know them and played by His own rules, which He is known to do, that production of light must have come with some release of energy. And so this Big Bang theory that they have in physics, I think, is perfectly congruent with what the Bible says. Those two don't have to be mutually exclusive. That's my argument to them. That there is a way that science and what we believe biblically can overlap and agree. I'll go so far as to say that there's lots of scientific real evidence of things like evolution of animals. Alright? We have evidence for that. We see how animals change and how animals adapt and so on and so forth. I believe man was made in God's image. I do not believe man evolved from any ape or ape-like creature. So I guess that's one of the two areas where the belief and the potential science are mutually exclusive. But
when did you discover that you had cancer? Was it in med school?
That was in medical school. So I was in third year of medical school. Let's see, February, March, I remember not feeling well, as in just being tired all the time. As I said, I had these bad allergies, and that year I remember I was itching all over, which was unusual, because that wasn't usually my problem. By April, I started having really, really severe back pain. Found I couldn't even lie down flat to sleep at night, so I used to sleep with this big pillow that my grandmother had. By the end of, by Easter that year, that was 20, no, 97, what am I talking about? I'm so sorry. That was 1997. I remember on the Easter holiday, I was with my family, daddy, auntie, last and those people. And she laughed, she says, "I walk like a woman with an episiotomy." That's the cut you give when you have that baby.
Yes.
And I didn't know what that was at the time. They had to explain it to me when everybody was laughing. But I was not a pain. And then over the next few weeks, it just got worse. I was hardly able to function because the pain was so bad. I was on a whole heap of medication, pretty strong stuff that I had to go to the hospital and get. As a patient in the emergency room. There's a doctor named Garvey. She's currently a consultant psychiatrist. But when she was rotating through A&E, I remember she was one of the first doctors to take me seriously and to believe that I had this extent of pain. And I remember she gave me a shot of a properly strong medication, and I went home that night and I slept for the first time in like a month. I mean, slept properly, comfortably for several hours. But yeah, the penny dropped now in May 97. I was here, because this was my grandmother's house at the time.
Right.
I was trying to reach something on a shelf, and I realized I couldn't reach it because I couldn't tip. I couldn't go on my tiptoes. In fact, it was odd, but I kind of rushed off. And over the next 2 or 3 days, I had simple things, even going to the bathroom.
Pain
And
again? The pain started again?
No, I just couldn't.
Oh, just couldn't, okay.
Right.
So motion
Everything.
reduced?
Yep,
Right.
couldn't.
Okay.
And then, yeah, the pain got so bad I couldn't walk, so they admitted me to University Hospital. I was on the orthopedics wing, orthopedics ward. I was there I was there for Mother's Day, May 97. The Tuesday the following week, my father took me to Fort Lauderdale, and we had an MRI done. And the MRI showed a tumor, a huge tumor in my spinal canal that was actually squeezing all the nerves that led to the entire lower half of my body, and that was the reason I had been in such pain for such a long time. But then additional scans showed that it was that before or after? Alright, let's not do that. So I came back to Jamaica, we had this information now, and I had surgery on Thursday, May 15, 1997.
Right, so within a short period of time after diagnosis.
Yeah, man, no, that was pretty rapid. Admitted
Yeah.
Saturday, went to Florida on Tuesday, had the scan. No, hold on, that's not true. I went up Monday, had the scan Tuesday, came back Wednesday, had Thursday surgery. Had
Okay.
surgery Thursday.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Who did the surgery?
So doctors Ivor Crandon,
Okay.
neurosurgeon, and
Okay.
law professor Kenneth Vaughan, orthopedics,
Okay.
opened the spine, took out the tumors. To be clear, this tumor had wrapped around several nerves leading to my legs. So,
Yes.
interestingly, as a third-year med student and a legal adult, they didn't have that conversation with me. They spoke to my parents and said, when he wakes up, he might not be able to walk. Right? I kind of figured it out.
Was your dad a part of the surgery team?
No, absolutely not. We don't want to surgery on our family. That's a bad idea.
No?
No, you don't treat your family. Well, alright, start over. It is considered foolish to take care of people primarily who are close to you, because your emotions get involved, and there are lots of aspects of medicine, and surgery is absolutely one of them, where you don't want your emotions involved. You want to be intelligent about it. The emotions are not usually very intelligent.
Emotions are not really
No.
intelligent.
Emotions run counter to intelligence in many, many ways. As people, we have to incorporate them to live a successful life. You know, if you're just intelligent with no emotion, you're a robot. But if you're just emotional with no intelligence, well, that's not a good thing either. So no, we don't treat our family. I mean, minor things. You have a good cough and cold, fine, that's one thing, but certainly not
Yes.
something like surgery.
Yes.
Or delivery of a baby for that matter.
Really?
No, absolutely not. When my wife was pregnant with Gabriel, which, by the way, let's just circle to that. 6 months of chemotherapy.
Yes.
Alright, let me try and put this in a G-rated thing so I can put it in the Gleaner, but the principle of chemotherapy is that the medicine is poison. And it attacks cells which reproduce rapidly, because that's a characteristic of cancer cells. They reproduce rapidly.
Yes.
Now here's the problem. There are quite a few places in your body where you have normal cells which reproduce rapidly. So, hair follicles that produce hair reproduce rapidly.
Right,
Then-
because the hair grows back quickly after chemo.
Yes, but
right.
when you're on chemo, the hair goes away.
Yes.
Hence the whole of baldness.
Right.
Great. Then you're on chemo, you lose your appetite, you're nauseous, you're vomiting, etc., etc., etc. And of course, the cells in your gonads, ovaries for ladies, testes for men, where the eggs and sperm are actually made, reproduce rapidly, and those can be sometimes permanently affected by chemotherapy. So, prior to surgery, our concern was, would you be able to walk after? By God's grace, the answer was yes. I am able to. I still have a limp. It shows particularly when I'm tired, but I can't walk by myself. All right, so I'm good at that.
Yeah.
The question about children obviously couldn't be answered until I tried, and that was after we got married a couple of years well. But yeah, that too was God's grace. I have 2 children now, and I'm very happy. When you enter medicine with your eyes wide open.
Yes.
If you are going to treat sick people, and if one component of being sick is infectious diseases, then by definition, you're going to put yourself in cases where you could get sick. This is a given.
Yes.
And if you, well, I'm not that. And I understand that. All right, good, full stop. On top of that, I'm a Christian man. So I have to set an example to my junior colleagues, to people in general. My thing was this. This is a job God has given me, and I'm going to execute it to the best of my ability. No, if I go down there and I'm exposed and I get sick, is one or two things. If I get sick and get better, God restore me. And if I get and die, God take me, which is really an upgrade. And if I don't get sick at all, God protect me. So, I mean...
You saw God in all of the circumstances.
So, I tell people I'm employed by the university hospital, but I work for God. I offer my work as part of my worship. It means that I have to operate, no pun intended, at a higher standard of care, because when I report to my boss and I do my devotions at night, my conscience must be clear.